Start recording. So first of all, we want to measure out, and let's go back and look, 0.5 liters. How many milliliters is that? Everybody do the calculation and tell your partner how many milliliters. 500. That is 500 milliliters. Remember, you need to move your decimal place how many places? 3 places. Okay. So we're going to measure out 500 milliliters. And there's a reason I don't use 0.5 liters. It's because all of our glassware measures in milliliters, not in liters. So it makes more sense to measure out 500 milliliters. Now, we get to choose a piece of equipment here. Our volumetric pipettes, these guys here, are volumetric pipettes, and they come in the size 25 milliliters and 10 milliliters. Do you guys remember what this thing is called? This is a graduated cylinder. And what size does the graduated cylinder come in? There's a whole ton of them, okay? I'm just going to give you, they come in 10 mil, 25 mil, 100 mil, 250 mil, 500 mil, and 1,000 milliliter. Okay, so they come in lots of different sizes. Volumetric pipettes come in other sizes as well, but those are the only two that we have. Now, if you wanted to be the most precise, which is more precise, a volumetric pipette or a graduated cylinder? Which is more precise? The pipettes. This is more precise. So if you needed 25 milliliters or 10 milliliters, that would be a good choice. However, how much do we need? 500. So even though these are a good choice, if you have those smaller volumes, do you think it would be great to measure out 25 milliliters 20 times? No, because you could have a little bit of error each time, and each time you'd be adding up that error, and it would take forever, and it would be ridiculous. So what would you rather use? The graduated cylinder. Okay, so we're going to use what size of graduated cylinder? 500 milliliter. So we've got our stock solution in there, so we fill it up to the 500 mil mark with our 0.8 molar solution. No, 8 molar, not 0.8. Now, if you have a volume that is less than 20 mils and it's some weird number like 4.7, you can use a graduated pipette, and you can start here and you can finish at 4.7. Let's not worry about that too much, though. I'm not going to talk much about graduated pipettes. Okay. Now, if you are making a solution, it doesn't matter whether you're doing it by dilution or whether you're doing it from using solid as your starting point. What is a good piece of equipment to use? You just did it last day. What did it look like?
Volumetric flask.
It's a flask. What kind of flask?
Volumetric.
A volumetric flask, which is what we've got right here. Okay, so volumetric flasks are a good choice if you happen to have one. If you don't have one, you could use a graduated cylinder. But we have, now let's go and remind ourselves what volume of solution we needed. We needed 2 liters of solution. Yeah, so we want what size of flask? These are all our different sizes. Which size of flask would we like if we need 2 liters of solution? 2 liters. Yeah. Okay. It's hiding in there, I think. All right. So we want to choose a 2 liter. And I'm going to let you write down the word before I write it down. Okay, so we have our 2 liter volumetric flask. So you would take your graduated cylinder, and you would pour it in there, your 500 milliliters, and then what would you do after your 500 milliliters are in there? You now want to dilute it. What do you use to dilute it? You use water. So you add the 500 mils of stock, and then fill to where? To the line, yeah, with water. And once you have filled it to the line with water, there's one last step that you need to do. Well, you can't swirl it because it's so full. Can you imagine trying to swirl this thing and getting any motion in it? Like, the solution's not going to move very much if you swirl it. You're going to have to shake it. What do you need to do before you shake it? You need to put a stopper on it or parafilm, okay? Use a stopper or parafilm. And shake / invert to mix. Do you guys know what I mean by invert? Invert means turn it upside down and turn it right side up again. Okay, so invert means, yeah, upside down, right side up, upside down, right side up. Shakety, 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 shake. Off you go. Okay, so that is what you would do, and your solution would be done. It's actually much easier usually to make a solution from a stock solution than it is to make it from solid, because you don't have to go through the weighing of the solid and the stirring and making sure it all dissolves and all that stuff, right? Now, what if we asked for a large volume? Because we are going to do a lab later this year. And everybody does this lab. Every grade 11 class, grade 11 chem class does this lab. Every grade 12 class does this lab. It's fun lab. It's a titration, but it means we need lots and lots of solution. So we need something really big to contain it. Okay? So we have these things. They are called carboys. Don't ask me why. I have no idea, but they're called carboys. So if you need to make a big volume of solution, you might choose a carboy as your final container, okay? And you're usually not doing a really, really awesome job at making your dilution really like this. Oopsie. At making your dilution really, really precise when you're using something like that, which means that you need to do a titration, which is what we'll learn about later, in order to figure out the actual concentration. You'll get a ballpark concentration, and then you'll need to figure out the actual concentration. Okay. Now, just a quick note about acids. When acid is added, when water is added to a concentrated acid, the mixing process can be very exothermic. Remind me what exothermic is. Are you on your phone, Anthony? I only looked up the once. What does it mean to be very exothermic? It creates a lot of heat. Yeah. Why am I writing this? It says it right here. It generates a lot of heat. I seem to like to a lot of heat. Now, what this can do is if it happens very quickly, it can cause the glass to crack, or it can cause the mixture to boil and spatter. So what we do instead of having this concentrated acid and just adding water to it is we put a bunch of water in the flask first, and we add the acid a small amount at a time so that it's not so concentrated, like it gets diluted right away, so you don't have it as concentrated. When it is dilute, you don't have the same problem. So there is a little mnemonic device, a memory aid, which is do as you order, add acid to water. And how cute is that little otter? I could not believe I found a little otter with safety goggles and a flask. I was so excited. I'm like, anyway. So you guys have done exercise 1 and 2 already. And if you haven't, you might want to do those. I would like you to do exercise 3 and 4 on page 109. And when it says, how would you prepare? You're going to list the steps. Okay? And you're also going to do page 102, number 9. When you are finished those, you can come get a copy of the next mini lab. Okay?
Less than a month. How is it difficult to start playing? Okay, so I don't want to get too far behind on all this.
Yes.
So I'm thinking I didn't know stuff. I already have.
You have that?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Have a big bag.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too far behind. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep up with this, and then this time on Monday, I won't get sick.
Okay.
I'll be there for the ducks.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say, right? I'm gonna take this out of things in my. So you want to make. Well, this is not one. This is a, but in a dilution cup, I always want to start that way. Okay, so start with one. And that was supposed to get cold. I'm involved in the solution. Yes, I'm in this.
Yeah.
I'm right. And if you didn't do the mini lab yesterday, you'll start with mini lab solution lab skill. If you're doing the second, if you've already done it, you'll do the second one today, okay? So.
Yeah.
That's your sausage. And you add, yeah, you add over. Yeah, not bad. Is this an acid lot? I mean, this one, it's not acid.
So folks, I'm just putting out volumetric pipettes here. Okay, volumetric flasks are at the back.
That's what I'm doing.
It's still on my.
Oh, I mean, I go to sleep at 7, like, I don't.
I've done all
Once.
Yeah.
It's called my phone. Oh, it's 60.
Okay, you like to use a pipe? That's part two. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Almost done with it. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, you might be right.
That's it. It says something 2 liters of. That's it. All right. Yeah, when you- I'm gonna recommend it. At the end of the meeting, once, yeah. Oh,
I bet Jeff will just.
I'm just talking.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, wait, 120 divided by 3. They're on the wall.
Yes, very nice.
I just.
Oh, the.
Yeah, graduate center and things.
And a hearing aid can swear.
Anyone need a hand with anything? This special Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
What? That says portable. Yeah, I know. Which? How do you eat around hell? And you go, oh.
Oh, Sky, I think this is yours.
What?
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Like she wants to.
what? I don't know.
We're only supposed to be.
I thought that.
You want.
See, I was right, I was right. I forgot the T.
You want.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So is
I mean, we're making people buy new. The flash.
This is on half. I don't know. Sorry, yeah. I forgot. I don't.
Yeah, I was just saying, in this scenario, it's.
Yeah. I have a bunch of white spots. Maybe we'll go get more about that age, right? That's good, yeah. Yes. Also, if anyone is wanting to redo the quiz, most recent one, I do have a new version.
Is that right? Yeah. Very good.
Yes, except that this. Oh, I'm so sorry. This is not molar per meter. Okay. Okay, so it's basically the same as this one.
Down here,
It just doesn't give you it worked all out in steps. So whenever you're doing a dilution problem, you want to find the moles. So how could you find moles here? Yeah. Cool.
Oh wait, do we just make the solution after we're done with the questions?
After you're done, you come and you get the second one. Yeah.
Don't give us that. I don't. Oh, what? First one. Older and false. I don't know, so I keep feeling all confused. I was, that makes sense. So we do that. And then.
So that's part one. If you've already done, that's
Yes.
part two.
Yeah, did you, is the same, right? In doing that?
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's because this is your conversion factor normally with radius first, and then it was more familiar, but it's the same thing.
0.15.
Yeah. Yeah. And finally, this. Yeah. Yeah.
That is on the yellow, like that.
So making solutions is what we just did this morning, the use a volumetric pipette or use a graduated cylinder. Volumetric class or whatever Yes, okay, and there's also. Yes. You don't have to go so deep, you just have to be like. Oh, that's right now, I'm. Yes. Yeah, and you gives me a fishing order. Yes, yes. This is your stock solution. So that's what you're starting.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Well, stock solution. Yes. Yes, those two. And that's my fault.
That's what you might find that the rock. They're not like that. Anybody else like before? Like the one.
So what's wrong? Cool.
For me, adds like, you know.
And
I don't know all of it.
No.
they just.
I do like.
I got things you have.
Got 37 milliliters, 22 liters. Max.
Or the way drink. Right, we can have a glass. Yeah. Yes, yes. Excellent. Good. Yeah. You have some lower issue. Yeah.
Oh, you're right.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah. You can go the other way, it's just 3 sets instead of 1. Yes.
Or see, following this stuff.
Yeah, so you need to figure this out, do your calculation.
Is it like?
And then, just like last week, you know how the computer was working out for you? You're going to write it out today, okay? Good. Yeah, let's get so far. Yeah.
What? Good.
What did you do? Make that video, what do you do?
Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. What are we taking from Yeah.
And you just use grams per person. Yeah, yeah, it's a compliment.
Alright, but.
Alright, yeah. Miss Pastor, I'll show you part 2 before doing
Sure, yeah. 1, 3 sig pig.
I'm watching.
Yeah, because that goes to 2 decimal places. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And generally, when you're doing a mass, you don't worry about so much about the sig figs as you go, how many decimal places does that thing go to? And that's what you want to aim for.
Like, I kind of forgot. Like, it
Yeah.
ended at 3.5 and
It's all
after
good.
put it. Oh, do you read about procedure though?
I have not read the procedure.
I think it's.
Okay.
Oh, it's 5.
What?
Tell you inside, when you have a size of volumetric glass. Good stuff. Let me double check here. You don't filter the line right there. Oh, not.
Oh, because it might heat up, right?
No, that's for acids. How easy is it to swirl if you fill it all the way up?
I mean, it was pretty easy yesterday when I was pouring it.
When it was like all the way full?
Oh. Okay, so it depends on. Oh, so like.
So like when it's to
oh
the
yeah,
line?
slowly fill it up, yeah.
So do you fill it all the way to the line before you swirl it?
Oh no, it was like 2/3, right?
You can do that first and then you fill it
So
to
should
the
I
line.
put
Yes.
2/3
Yes.
and then all the way up?
Yes. So you're making 50 milliliters of solution today. So if you want parafilm, there's parafilm, but there are also stoppers if you're feeling like you don't want to deal with that today.
What?
Stuff. That's part one, right? Good. All right. That looks good. Excellent. All right. So now you're going to actually do the lab, and the instructions are both in written form and in pictorial form. So you can either read the front or read the back or both. Mhm. And everything's like here.
Oh, wow, okay. I got 2.5.
Oh, was it 2.5? Oh. All right, let's check you out. That looks
Did you get all of
good.
it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be.
Hey Roger.
Yeah.
Can you get 2.05 grams?
Or I can give you scissors if you prefer.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're looking for the salt is up here. Okay. Okay, so this is good that you've got the moles. Now, are you able to measure out moles? Like, how are you going to measure moles? What do you need to do first? Yeah, so you need to find the grams, use the mole mass. Yeah, yeah.
You're the only one who ever presented. No child in every game did this. Oh.
There's two balances, so you can.
I actually like.
Oh, I can get you.
I didn't present when we were like ready. All the way. I actually had the choice. Yeah, but I think that's it. Present in front of like, show, I'm gonna choose the presented. Our presentation was. It was. Is a
Excellent. That's the molar mass. That's the mass of 1 mole. How many moles do you have? Oh, that's okay. You're going to use your molar mass to figure out how many grams you have. Okay.
Okay, let's do like 5 goes to 1. 18 grams, I don't even know. Look at that.
Mm-hmm.
46.
You are really close. You are out by 1 power of 10. I want to see the work where you got that number from, okay? Because that's where your error is. It's somewhere in there. Yeah.
Is that going to show you the work to start part 1?
Nope. Didn't you do part 1 yesterday?
Oh, I did do part 1.
Yeah. Part 2. There you go.
Thank you.
That's why I never taught platform. It's the size of the book. They had it in color. I just got. I forget. It's kind of here.